Trading has closed on May 9th, 2022. We always start with our disclaimer, so let us do that. It's my trading plan for tomorrow, May the 10th. Remember, I can be completely wrong. Any trade you make should be at your own risk. If you like the channel, please click like and tell your friends about it. Let's go over our calls. We look for the pattern with the early high, which is this. Tends to be a rally day, failures, a straight line drop, which we got. Should be followed by further declines, even if we don't close down tomorrow. Tomorrow should also be a day with an early high pattern. Doesn't mean you won't get down. We had a few targets. We had a 41, 44, 78 target, but I said I might not print. About every 6 months or so, I get a cluster of failed targets that don't print when I want them to. In the past, they've always printed at some time. Just can't say when. There was an optional target I mentioned in my Sunday update, 40.7850, that printed resistance over the price. And we get to cross a target from last year off the list, 4,007.37 printed after waiting 13 months. The market never forgets this number. And look at the perfect support under that price. And the support broke right at the end. If we don't go under today's close by 1 cent, this break doesn't count. But right now, the market remembered the support level even after 13 plus months and then broke it. At the end of 2021, I showed this chart. The market was around 4,800. I said there was no precedent for the number of unfilled targets we had in 2020 and 2021 put together. And if the past was any guarantee to the future, we should see some or all of the 7 targets that didn't print last year. It's been a little over 4 months, and we've now printed 6 of those 7 targets, which means for all of last year, with 650 targets or so, only one of them hasn't printed. And that should give some hope for people who want the market to rally again, because we're now getting too many unfilled targets higher than where we are. They should print at some time. I just can't say when. Well, here's DeMark's TDST line. Here's one bar completely under the line, and here's one bar completely under that bar. That's a break of support. You still have to go under today's close by 1 cent, but that still is a break of support. We're still in the support area on the weekly chart. Here's his weekly TDST line, but of course you could plummet this week and next week, and as long as there's some overlap, it wouldn't change anything. We said if everything worked out according to plan, we could see my 39.95 Fed whipsaw target that did print. I said if we had a collapse into 39.50 or so, there could be a sharp reversal. We didn't get that low. We didn't get a reversal. The volume wasn't high. This isn't even an impulsive drop. So what I thought had a chance to mark a low didn't. It doesn't mean the prices won't work, but if they fit, if they still hold in the middle 39.50s, I don't think you're going to get the X-wave kind of rebound I would expect if you had a collapse to my number, which didn't happen. Now we still have this volume here, high volume spike, and it's starting to drop off, and that should give some hope to the bulls, but I really want to see higher volume than this, so I don't think people have thrown the towel in quite yet, although we should be close to a short-term low. Well, this is my long-term count. We had this A back in 2009. This wave structure I always counted as a 3-wave structure, even though everyone else under the sun counted it as a 5. And we had green C equals green A at 3909.32. That still is a reasonable target, but we're dropping so hard and so fast. I should point out it isn't the only target. DeMark has a rule that when you have a major top, typically you're going to correct either by 38.2 or 61.8%. Well, if we correct by 38.2%, it gives us a target of around 2978. And if you take twice wave green A, you get around 3,000. And then the chart of this magnitude, 28 points, doesn't make much of a difference. So if we do break 3909, 2978 to 3,000, is the next level I'm going to be looking at. Obviously not in a day, and obviously not without a lot of backing and filling and moves in both directions first. Well, here's how I'm counting the daily chart. We're going back to our original count. Wave C is equal to wave A at 39.33. I just can't count this decline as being over yet. Here's the 15-minute chart. These are the numbers we came up with for parsable support. At this point, I'm not really convinced these numbers are going to hold. And just because there is support there, it doesn't mean they won't hold. But there are other targets. That's all I can say. If we hit them and they hold, fine. I still like 3909, and I have for a long time. But I can't count this as being over. Now I have a date of May 13th, but again, every one of Carol Ann's days doesn't work. It's a day to look for a change in trend, doesn't mean there has to be one. And every one of the low to low to high targets doesn't work. As I said before, this date is a change in trend time, but it doesn't tell you if it's a high or a low. And it doesn't always work. It's entirely possible if this keeps up, that this marks a low instead of a high, and it could be a crash low the way we're going. At this point, we can't say. Tuesday's pattern has the early high, but could still gap down. Today's normally bullish pattern wasn't. Should lead to further declines in price regardless of how we close. As far as the long term is concerned, this is longer term. We now have weekly new lows, weekly new highs, less new lows, undercutting to minus 1,000 level. This is the lowest level seen since the 2020 COVID crash and is associated with significant market bottoms. This goes along with the sentiment extremes I've mentioned previously. So in terms of time, I think we're very, very close to a major low. That doesn't mean we're close in terms of price necessarily. For the short term, I can't count the current drop as complete. It's possible we'll undercut the long-standing targets in the 3900s. There are other counts out there that don't violate any rules. I was hoping to see a collapse to 3950 today with high volume, followed by a reversal. We didn't drop low enough. The volume wasn't high enough for a bottom. When we do bottom, the rebound will likely take longer than I originally thought because the pattern I wanted to see did not play out. Should be lower prices tomorrow regardless of how we close. We're probably close to a low in terms of time, and it could be a significant one. but I'm just not seeing the capitulation with huge volume and an impulse down that I was hoping to see today. There is support in the 3900s. It could still hold, particularly around 3909, and there could be a rebound from there, but this is just the beginning of what should be a longer decline. And that's today's call.